Are you going to resolve this story about Rocket Gibraltar?
Now, I never mentioned a word to either, and I couldn't wait for whatever way it was going to be resolved. It was unbelievable. Like, there were two people that I admired greatly, and they were, you know, head-to-head stuff. It was awful, and I often wonder if I had said something to one of them. They said, "Well, sure, look, if you can do something, we'll try," or something.
You shouldn't underestimate as well the power for racing to have an owner like Sir Alex Ferguson, because I grew up a Liverpool fan, absolutely hated Man United, hated him, but when I got into racing was around the time of Rocket Gibraltar, and that meant a lot more to me because I could relate to it. And I think them colours, despite the fact that, you know, the colours were deemed subsequently to be kind of more ceremonial than anything else in terms of his ownership.
Well, you see,
Rocket Gibraltar had a swagger, and it was appropriate that he owned them.
But it was fantastic, like that. Like when he was involved in the ownership of a few other horses apart from Rocket Gibraltar. Like, see him arriving at the Curragh, and he with the Coolmore team and with the whole. I mean, it was fantastic for racing.
Absolutely.
You know that Alex Ferguson is involved in racing in Ireland. Now, I don't know whether that plan was at one stage that the lads were going to buy Manchester United, because they had were major shareholders at a stage, and I think there was an option that they nearly had to bid for it or get out. And I think because of the turmoil, I think they took the latter and just got away.
I mean, they made a profit on it, but ultimately the club does go on to become this massive multi-billion valuation as the football.
It was a sad end, though, to, I presume, what was an acrimonious kind of relationship between them, because it was sad, and I get it would have been hard for Sir Alex to take on the might of you know those guys, but it was sad because it was a great Rocket Gibraltar was a superstar horse, and it was a great few years.
Well, I mean, we'll never know the ins and outs of the whole thing, but I think everybody missed out. I think everybody lost. There was so much sort of bad press about it and that. Yeah. And like there were two juggernauts, and well, you know, it has moved on now. But it would have been great if they had stuck together and everyone see how it would have resolved. I mean, an ideal situation for me would have been that JP and John Magner and probably Dermot Desmond, if they had bought Manchester United, and Alex, after his career, might have went in as director of football and
or ceremonial president. Yeah.
Anyway, that's
he's well again though, or relatively well.
He rang me. Well, actually, my only contact with him, I was at the Arsenal match 6 days before he got the turn. And it was Arsene Wenger's last match, and we were up in the box, and Arsene Wenger came in, and it was a lovely moment. Now, you know, I'm sure, because we had
he had the turn before then, had he?
No, the following Saturday.
Sorry, yeah, because he presented him with that. That was a real touching moment. Yeah.
Yeah, but when he came into the box, he was there, and then he had a bottle of wine, and he had it in a grand decorated bag and handed it to him, and you know, they had a hug, and it was a lovely moment for them. And I was bursting to get a photograph with the two of them, and I said, I can't interfere with this moment, you know. And Arsene Wenger shook hands with us all going out, and like, they were great, you know.
Beautiful.
And it was just a great time to be there, and the match was atrocious. But
as are all Man United matches at the moment, just to put that on the record.
Since he's gone, I mean, it's been atrocious. I mean, I watched 18 minutes of the cup final, United and Chelsea. When I was young, I'd watch the cup final from the minute it come on grandstand at 12 to 6 o'clock. It's just a change. But no, he that was 6 days after, and then my only contact with him was his own phone number. So I knew he was in bad shape, whatever, getting the bulletins on the television. But they dried up very quickly after about a week, and said he was doing well and that he was going to go home. So I just wrote a letter to Kathy, his wife, and I said, she'll get so many I won't get anything back for a long time. And the next thing was I got this letter, and he wrote it himself and said that he appreciated all the concern that was coming from this side, and with all the good wishes and that he had, he couldn't but fail. And he says, I won't fail, I'm doing well. And that was brilliant. So just before I was going to the Oaks, he rang me himself, and he was brilliant. Now, I knew the way he spoke on the phone that he was in good shape, and just
Great.
wished me well, and he says he was doing well and recovering day by day, and he was doing 20 minutes on a bike, walking for 15, and he has a nurse coming into him twice a week, just with the balance. And he's going away to France now for 3 weeks, and he's going to a match in September.
Ah,
Beautiful.
class. That's great. That's brilliant. I didn't realise that he was making such a great recovery.